Welcome to Season 3 of Students of Mind, the podcast that's all about opening up and normalizing discussions about mental health in ways that anyone can comprehend. In the first 2 seasons, we sat down with mental health experts and survivors to give you a full circle picture of each topic. In this new season, we will continue to explore the world of mental health through the insights of experts, healers, and individuals with lived experience. From alternative healing modalities to living with multiple illnesses, this season we will cover a wide range of topics with the help of a diverse selection of guests. My name is Jayde, and for today's episode, I'm sitting down with my friend Maia Washington as a continuation for our borderline personality disorder series. In our discussion, we talk a little bit about what it's like living with BPD as a Black woman. I hope by listening to the show, you're able to learn something new and gain some encouragement through hearing our experts and listening to the journeys of our guests. However, this show is not a substitute for professional advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your mental health professional or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have about your condition. Never disregard professional advice or delay in seeking it because of something you have heard on the Students of Mind podcast. Today's guest is Maia Washington. Maia is a case manager for a psychological rehabilitation company and a mental health advocate. She graduated from Morgan State University, and in our conversation today, she shares with us what her experience has been like living with borderline personality disorder, what quiet borderline personality disorder is, and she shares a piece that she wrote about living with this illness. All right, so welcome, Maia. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, I'm so excited that we could figure out this quick little chat, because I think your story is really important to share with people so they know kind of the different ways borderline personality disorder can present. And especially the layer of like being Black. I think with mental health in general, there's so much stigma in the Black community around it, and it keeps us from learning about these things sometimes. So I'm excited to talk to you today. Before we get into the topic, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and the work that you do?
Okay, so my name is Maia Washington. I use they, them pronouns. I just graduated from Morgan State University with a bachelor's in psychology. And currently I work as a case manager at a psychiatric rehabilitation program, which is basically me reaching out to individuals who need assistance being rehabilitated in society, whether it be mentally, well, in addition to it being mental health. I also provide resources, whether it's housing, getting important documents, things like that. So I try to help as much as I can, however I can. Yeah.
Great. And what inspired you to get into that line of work?
I've always just wanted to help people. Ever since I was younger, that's all I wanted to do was help. And I've been through a few different avenues. It went from me wanting to be a pediatrician to wanting to be like a fashion designer in a way. And then going into high school, I wanted to be a singer. that necessarily didn't work out really well for me. I still like singing, but not in the professional route. Getting later into high school, I realized that I really liked mental health, and I wanted to understand myself at the same time, and getting to know, you know, anything that I'm going through, maybe I can help other people with. So I went to college and wanted to pursue psychology, and now I'm here.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I love hearing people's stories around that because a lot of people who have their own mental health experiences growing up tend to go into the field when they are adults. And so I just love hearing that path. All right, so let's talk borderline personality disorder. I'm interested to hear kind of what your experience has been. So, I guess starting off, I want to know like how did you learn about borderline personality disorder and start to like identify it within yourself?
So from like a very young age, and by very young, maybe in the beginning, early teens, I just knew there was stuff with mental health going on with me. A lot of it I knew, of course, depression and anxiety. Like that was something I was diagnosed with early on. But I also grew to really see me having a lot of major mood swings. I started to look it up whether it was normal to be, you having these mood swings like this before having the emotions that I was having it so strongly. I initially came across bipolar disorder, and coincidentally, I also am bipolar. I have bipolar 2 disorder. But I also wondered if it was more, it was deeper than that because I also have deep abandonment issues. And so when I was searching that up and I was like researching that, I came across BPD, and just maybe since I was 14, 15, I've always suspected that I had borderline personality disorder. But of course, as you probably already know, you can't be diagnosed that early, or you could be, but it's very rare that you would be. And because of the therapist I was working with, she didn't really deal with like personality disorders or stuff like that. So it was kind of just like if I brought it up to her, she would be one of the therapists that would be dismissive about it, and she has been dismissive. And so going into college, I was in the midst of a hypomanic episode because I was taking antidepressants, and that's not going to help you if you are bipolar. That's before we knew. I was diagnosed with bipolar when I was 19, 20. Right after this manic episode, I was diagnosed. But even within that, I had a new therapist, and I was telling her like all the things I was going through. She was the one who diagnosed me with bipolar disorder. But I also expressed to her, I think I have BPD too. But I had just met her, so she expressed that she couldn't diagnose me that early, especially because she didn't know my family history or just history of myself. And so she had to observe me for a while. And so going into it, I almost forgot about it. I knew that there was something up. I kind of wanted to keep bringing it up, but like after a while, I forgot about it. One day I said something along the lines of feeling rejected and abandoned and something like that. And she looked at me and she was like, you have BPD. And I was like, it was the most relieving but scariest experiences for myself, just because I know myself very well, but it's also, from what I researched, it's kind of one of those severe things. And so I was happy to finally be seen, but it's also frustrating in a way.
In the episode I did before this, and just the research I've done around borderline personality disorder, it's so stigmatized that even providers won't want to treat people who are diagnosed with it sometimes.
I was gonna say I'm technically not officially diagnosed in my records because my therapist has acknowledged if she put it in my records and something happens where the two of us aren't seeing each other anymore, there's a fear that if I find somebody else that is going to try to treat me, they won't try to treat me because they see that BPD is documented in my records. And so while it is acknowledged, I'm not noted in my chart as having BPD.
And thank God for this therapist that had the wherewithal to be like, no, I'm not going to put this on your chart because this could affect care in the future. But it's unfortunate that we have to do that. So yeah, it's a frustrating piece. But I'm glad that you were at least validated in your experience. I think that's really important.
I agree. It just means a lot to me.
Yeah, good. So, with your therapist, after she kind of acknowledged the borderline personality disorder, did you guys start doing like DBT or any specific types of treatment for your symptoms? Or kind of what was like the next steps you took?
So in the beginning, because it was just so new, and I had a lot of other things that I was dealing with in addition to having BPD, it was very much like having to start slow. So we didn't start with DBT immediately. It was more so getting myself to be grounded and self-aware. It was just a part of DBT, but it started. She didn't acknowledge it as DBT until maybe months and months later. And so it was interesting to see her like ease me into it without kind of being like, this is the thing that we're going to do. Because while it's important to be aware of like what exactly is happening, for me change is very scary, and being thrown into things is very scary. And so I had to be eased into it. She had to teach me some different coping skills and different ways of dealing with moments where I do have like episodes and stuff. And then she finally was like, this is what DBT is, this is the things that you're doing, these are the tools that you have. And there were other types of therapies that she wanted to try with me, but a lot of it was in person, and because I've been online for a while, she couldn't necessarily do it because it's very interactive. It's very like I have to be in the experience. But that's something we've been working on for a while, and me taking the tools so I don't have to like continuously be validated. It's very much I have to grow with what I'm using. But yeah, it's comforting to know that I'm being seen, and not necessarily just being like, okay, this is your treatment, but more so this is how you react to stuff. So I'm going to do it this way. So you handle it the way that you need to handle, and then we'll elaborate when you're ready and you're able to take in what I'm saying. It's good to be seen, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, and it seems like she was very gentle with the way that she went about treatment with you, which I love that. So, before we started talking, I want you to say this again because I don't think a lot of people know about it, but you described your BPD as quiet BPD. Can you kind of explain what that means and like what that looks like?
So BPD, a lot of people know BPD is this disorder that is, highlighted by rage and anger and lashing out on people, and, just having so much angry energy. And so for me, that's kind of an element that I have, but it's not outward, it's inward. So I don't lash out on people. I don't take anything out on people. It's more so like if something goes wrong, or I feel like something just isn't going the way it needs to, I take it out on myself. It's more so self-deprecation. It's more so I am thinking of everything that went wrong, or anything that can go wrong, and I'm just putting myself down, and all the emotions, the feelings that I have in my chest and my body become even more overwhelming because I can't take it out on anything, or I refuse to take it out on anything in addition to that. And so I'm now grappling with myself, and that's evolved. The way that looks has evolved over time, thankfully, but it was just one of those things where I when I first read about BPD, I read about the rage and stuff, but that's why I didn't really feel like I necessarily fit at first. But after researching a little bit more, I did find quiet BPD, and I was like, that makes sense. It's just showcases a lot of what I go through without the anger, without the outward, just like in your face, like this is what's happening, ruining relationships in that way, or not necessarily ruining, but so affecting relationships, I should say. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you for that, because I think that adds to the stigma when we only view an illness like this in one way. That adds to the generalizations that we make about it. So I like this is something I'm learning too. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you for asking. I really appreciate it. Getting to actually get the full scope of everything.
Yeah, of course. So, you wrote like a stream of consciousness. And so,
I did.
yeah, so I'm really excited to hear it and for the audience to hear it. I love reading mental health inspired writing. I think it's extremely powerful and moving. So, yeah, whenever you're ready, let's hear it.
I'm sorry, I'm reading off my phone. It's not memorized, but so this is entitled "I Am Not an Angry Black Woman: A Stream of Consciousness as I Navigate Life as Someone with Quiet Borderline Personality Disorder." I think this title is particularly funny and fitting because it is double meaning. I am neither, or rarely rather, outwardly angry nor really a woman. I like to joke that even since I was younger, I was always just considered to be Maia. It was all girls' night and Maia. Though I do identify as a demigirl, if I am asked, what am I offhandedly just say non-binary. I stick by it. I was also a people pleaser. I was fragile, sensitive, scared to let anyone down, make anyone upset or angry. I still am, to be quite honest. I get so insecure. I get attached to people who are kind to me very easily. It develops into abandonment issues, which is one of the defining features of borderline personality disorder. I did get angry when I was younger, but I don't remember it very well, which is partially why I don't get angry now. I always say I'm scared to see my anger, and I am. I always have been. I also just can't seem to get angry, not on my own anyway. I blacked out exactly once during this pandemic on one of my favorite people. I mean, favorite people, as it quite literally is a term with people with BPD used to describe a person or persons the individual with BPD are fixated on, even obsessed with at the time. It is not a choice we make, it just happens. I also mean favorite person, as this person means a lot to me, and I still wonder if I was as horrendous as I thought I was that night. I can barely remember, and that scares me so much. It was not a random occurrence. Rather, a lot of small instances built up over time that I had not realized affected me until that moment I just black out. I don't usually take my anger out against people. I take it out on myself. It builds up and I harbor it until I can't feel it anymore. And I don't mean to harbor it. I just have the worst time identifying and expressing my emotions. Finally, it all spills out. When people ask me how I feel, I can only describe it as being stabbed in the chest or like I'm drowning. It is not exaggeration when I say I feel like I am dying. I quite literally feel like I am dying. I let out earth-shattering screams. My tears feel like they are burning my face. My body goes weak as I fall to the floor. My head starts pounding. I feel like the world is ending and I am ending with it. I wait until I can feel it all alone in the safety of my apartment, and I absolutely fall apart. Then I go numb, and the process starts all over again. In therapy, I am learning to cope. I do breathing exercises when I feel myself beginning to be impulsive. I write down what I want to say, I read it, and I try not to send it. I give myself space to feel. I also have reminders like no one hates me or is secretly plotting against me. I have no control over anyone else. I am not entitled to anyone's time. I deserve love and compassion. The effort I try to extend to others to show them that they are loved, I deserve for myself as well. I'm kind, caring, and not evil. I'm just human. I'm just human. I am just human. And this may seem extreme and silly to have to remind yourself of, but it's something I constantly have to do. Sometimes I feel like I'm a burden. I feel unwanted, like my family, my friends, my favorite people's lives would be so much better without me in it. I continue to bother them, make them feel like I need attention constantly, and truthfully, it does feel that way sometimes. I do feel like I need attention constantly. And when I don't get it from people I want it from, it feels like the world is falling apart and I'm the reason for it. Why did I send that message? Why did I call them? Do they even care? And in that moment where I have to try to devise a plan to make efforts work, maybe if I don't text them anymore, they'll reach out. Maybe if I just fall off the face of social media, they'll wonder where I am and reach out. Maybe if I send them this meme we both like and think it's funny, they'll respond. Often doesn't work, and the efforts I had in planning I put into trying to make some semblance of connection with them goes out the window, and I'm left with my own thoughts and intense burning feelings that reside in my chest. And most of the time I sit in my room as the tears shed all over again, and I'm left wondering, what did I do wrong? When you Google BPD, it is said to be the most painful mental illness, and I believe it. Though I was a psych major, I don't have much medical or psychological knowledge aside from my own experiences living with it. It's hard to see something you live with trending on social media, especially in a bad light. Being called manipulative, evil, insane, insensitive at the very least. It's even harder as someone who is Black with this disorder. I'm already seen as a threat because of my skin. In fact, I'm already seen as aggressive because I'm seen as a Black woman. I'm lucky to be surrounded by so many loving and caring people in my life who understand me. I know I have the privilege that not many other people, as far as I know, have. But it's also why I'm writing this. I don't see people like me on social media, or I barely do. But I want to find more people who look like me, who may go through the same challenges that I have, so we can connect, bond, share our stories, and create a safe space and community. Maybe one day I will feel comfortable being outright and honest, but right now all I can say is I'm Black. I am mostly a woman. I'm not angry. I'm not vindictive nor calculating. I'm not evil. I just feel so much, so intensely. I care for so many people. I have so much love in my heart. I have BPD. And I just want to tell my story. And I hope as I grow and heal, I can share my endeavors and hope that people like me that have the same hopes as me too will grow and heal. This may be hard to understand what I mean by all of this. So I've written a poem a while back that may help make this a little bit more sense. It's called The Most Painful Mental Illness. Please leave a message after the beep. Hey, I miss you. I haven't heard from you. I miss you. I don't know why you're always on my mind. Maybe it's the way you used to reassure me, your words, shelter from the hurricane. That is my mind racing. It's funny, baby. You were the only person I can rely on every day. You were the sun I basked in every day. You were the breath, the air I breathed in every single day. You, what happened to you? I feel like I'm dying when you're not around. Like someone took a dagger right in my chest, like I'm bleeding out, like I'm drowning. Baby, I can't breathe like this when you're not around. I texted you yesterday. You didn't text back again, but that's okay. You've been doing that a lot lately. I know you've got a lot going on. I got some stuff too, so maybe you and me can be each other's safe havens, kind of like old time, right? Or maybe you can be mine, baby. I miss you. Why don't you answer the phone no more? Maybe you're busy, or maybe I'm just going through too much, and as such, I don't even want to bother you with all of this anyway. And you know what? It doesn't even matter. You don't even care. You won't even understand, because if you did, you want to do this to me. You want to hurt me like this. Why are you doing this to me? I'm sorry for bothering you. I always do that, so never mind. Anyway, I hope you're having a good day. Please leave a message after the beep. Hey, I know I just called, but I just wanted to say I love you. Never mind. I do really miss you. Never mind. It doesn't matter. Goodbye. No, wait, I meant mailbox is full. So that kind of just went through the emotions of me specifically having a favorite person and me splitting and what it looks like and feels like to split like that. Especially when you have those severe abandonment issues attached to basically how you know yourself. And so I'm happy to have written that, but I also get nervous performing that just because I know how it looks, but it's also just my truth. It tells the most accurate story or the most accurate way of understanding what it's like to split in a situation like that. So yeah.
Wow, that almost brought me to tears, hon. That was really, really powerful. And I just loved the whole journey that it takes you through. And I think it ending with a poem was really powerful. And I'm so happy that you shared it because we need more people feeling okay with speaking their truth on these platforms and for a lot of people to see because, as you know, like, sometimes we feel like a burden and so we don't want to share these parts of ourselves. But it's so helpful for people to see this and see that, you know, they're not alone in these experiences. So truly, truly, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for sharing that. Yeah, and I hope it was I just hope it was more healing than nerve-wracking. Yeah.
Thank you for just giving me the space to do it. Sorry. And it definitely is. I know I was talking to you before about like being nervous just because BPD is taboo. I'm not going to dance around it. It's taboo. Like I said in the thing I just read, it's been so villainized. People see individuals like Amber Heard in the media and they take the entire situation and clump everybody together and being like, this is what it is, period, point blank, when it's just so complex. I know that my experience isn't going to be the same as the next person with BPD's experience, so on and so forth. But it's also just remember, like, people with mental illnesses, specifically personality disorders, are people, and these are like mental illnesses. So just sharing that, having a platform, which I cannot thank you enough at, like, from the bottom of my heart. Like you said, you were about to cry, I was about to cry just reading it. Because I just felt so happy and lucky to even have a space to share this non-judgmental way, in a way that someone actually wants to understand and listen and care. Because that's all I can ask for. And I just hope that me reading that, someone out there can relate, especially someone who's a black femme, or just black in general, but someone who looks like me and kind of just feels validated. I really hope that happens.
Yeah, I think it will. I think it will. So as we close, are there any kind of like social medias or email or anything that you'd like to share with people in case they're interested in like reaching out to you?
I'm kind of funny on Twitter sometimes, so find me on Twitter. It's skygazing with the A's and X. Also on my TikTok, I do filters. That's literally all I do. Sometimes I'll talk about mental health. If you scroll some, you'll find some videos. It's also skygazing, A's and X. Instagram is in the stars, stars, and in as in IN. Kind of like that Pink song, that lyric in Pink. Anyway, no, but those are the 3 platforms you can find me on. If you'd like to email me, you can email me at skygazing@gmail.com, same as any of my other social medias. And yeah, I'm just a guy, so I'm here if you ever need to talk or you need anything. I'm just always here. So yeah.
Great. Thank you so much for being here and for sharing and being open and vulnerable. I really, truly appreciate it. And I do think this is going to help a lot of people. So thank you.
Thank you so much. I feel a lot better doing this. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Students of Mind. I want to give a huge thank you to Maia for coming on the show and sharing. I really appreciate her vulnerability and openness. And yeah, it meant a lot to me that she felt comfortable coming on the show and sharing this. And I tried to encourage her that it's going to be helpful for someone out there somewhere. So if you'd like to follow her, all of her links will be in the description of this episode. As always, any links to the Students of Mind team's social media will also be in the description of the episode. If you are interested in getting support with finding mental health resources to support your needs, I do a service called Sister Sessions where I sit down one-on-one with people to help them find mental health resources. So if you're interested, go to studentsofmind.com/sister sessions to book a session today. Thank you again for listening to this episode. I hope you learned something new or resonated with something you heard today, and I will see you next episode.